Hello. Welcome to our Chanel Mobile Innovates. Imagine a smartphone that feels lighter than air, yet packs enough power to challenge laptops. A device that blurs the line between premium flagship and futuristic concept. Not in 2030, but right now. That's exactly the promise Apple is making with the brand new iPhone Air 2025. But here's the real question. Is this just clever marketing, wrapped in a slim design? Or is Apple genuinely redefining what a smartphone can be? Today, we're putting the hype to the test. Before we dive in, subscribe for more future tech breakdowns, and comment your honest first impression. Is the iPhone Air exciting or unnecessary? All right, let's get into it. The first thing you notice the moment you hold the iPhone Air is the weight, or more accurately, the lack of it. Apple wasn't kidding. This thing feels unreal, almost like a prototype that accidentally went public. It's thinner than any iPhone we've seen, but what's crazy is how rigid the frame still feels. No flex, no hollowness. It doesn't give you that anxiety of bending or snapping like some super thin Android phones from a few years ago. Apple is clearly using aerospace-grade materials, and you can feel that immediately. If you hated how heavy the Pro Max lineup got last year, this instantly feels like a spiritual reset. Now here's where it gets even more interesting. The design isn't just light for the sake of comfort. Apple has subtly reshaped the edges into what I'd call a hybrid between the iPhone 15's smooth curves and the iPhone 14's boxy grip. It has that soft comfort but premium sharpness. And the bezels. They're practically on vacation. We're talking ultra-thin symmetry on all sides, visually cleaner than even the Galaxy S24 Ultra. And yes, the dynamic island is still there, but it feels smaller, more refined, less visually distracting. But here's what actually surprised me. The iPhone Air doesn't feel cheap despite being incredibly light. The finish is matte. No fingerprint mess. It actually gives pro-level vibes without the pro-level bulk. Apple is very clearly aiming at people who wanted premium without the hand fatigue. Think business users, students, content creators, anyone tired of carrying a brick all day. And let me say this, the display is better than expected. Apple is using what it calls a high refresh adaptive Super Retina LTPO panel, which is basically a fancy way to say 120 Hz. ProMotion, but tuned for extreme battery efficiency. And honestly, the panel tuning is classic Apple. The contrast, the white balance, the anti-glare coating. It feels handcrafted rather than algorithmic. Even outdoors under harsh sunlight, it doesn't wash out like most OLEDs. This already feels like one of the best displays of 2025. But let's talk about the one major concern people had going in: performance. Surely a super thin phone has to compromise somewhere, right? Shockingly, not really. This thing is running on Apple's A19 Fusion chip. Even after using AI features for an hour straight, it doesn't heat like previous gens. Fusion chip specifically for AI efficiency, rather than brute GPU power, might be one of the smartest plays this year. But now the big question, battery life. How does a razor-thin phone survive a full day? Surprisingly, yes, it does. Apple isn't relying on battery size. They're relying on efficiency. Thanks to the adaptive LTPO display and lighter background process load, the iPhone Air easily lasts from morning to night for normal to heavy users. And standby drain is ridiculously low. It feels like the good old iPhone SE days where 3% battery drop overnight was normal. You can comfortably hit 7-8 hours of screen on time in mixed usage, which is insane considering how thin this thing is. Fast charging is also improved. 0 to 60% in 22 minutes with official fast charger. Now let's talk real-world usage, because specs are one thing, but how a phone behaves after 5 hours of non-stop action tells the real story. And this is where the iPhone Air genuinely surprised me. It feels effortless. You can bounce between camera recording, WhatsApp calls, Instagram Reels, and Safari without that micro lag or animation stutter that creeps into even flagship-y Android phones over time. The thermals are the real MVP here. Even under moderate gaming and constant 5G, it stays warm, not hot. Which brings us to gaming performance. Now, is this a gaming phone? No, but here's the twist. It comfortably plays Genshin Impact, COD Mobile, and even Fortnite at consistent 60 FPS with no frame drops for about 30 minutes. Straight, and more importantly, without throttling into slideshow mode like last year's ultra-thin attempts from competitors. It's clear Apple didn't make the Air to dethrone the Pro Max in gaming, but rather to deliver a stress-free, balanced performance profile. One that never feels like it's overworking itself. Perfect for people who want power without aggressive heat. So who is this phone really for? Simple. People who don't want a bulky metal slab in their pocket anymore. People who prioritize comfort, elegance, and silence over extreme specs. Think students, creators, business professionals, travelers, literally, anyone tired of heavy phones but still unwilling to compromise on premium. The iPhone Air 2025 isn't here to replace the Pro lineup. It's here to replace your fatigue, your every pocket annoyance, your fear of dropping a glass brick on your face while lying down. If you enjoyed this deep dive, hit subscribe for more futuristic tech breakdowns. Please like and subscribe our channel, and press the bell icon for more informative updates.
Apple has intentionally tuned it for real-world responsiveness. Over benchmark flexing, app switching is instant. Multitasking doesn't stutter. Even with 4K ProRes recording, it doesn't heat up like previous slim factor phones. The thermal vapor cooling design inside is actually shaped like a ribbon instead of a plate. Apple literally bent heat dissipation to fit the silhouette. We'll go deep into the camera system, AI intelligence, battery life endurance, and whether the iPhone Air is actually worth buying over the iPhone 17 Pro lineup. Now let's talk camera, because this is where Apple made an unexpectedly bold move. The iPhone Air 2025 features a dual-lens setup instead of the usual triple Pro camera system, and at first glance, that might sound like a downgrade. But don't let the number fool you. This new 48MP Ultra Fusion sensor is not just a recycled Pro lens. It uses an upgraded optical structure that allows more light intake in thinner chassis phones, which is crazy engineering. In real-world use, this thing absolutely destroys low-light noise without aggressive over-sharpening. Night photos no longer look artificially bright, they look cinematic, like actual real moonlight instead of a software filter trying too hard. The ultra-wide camera has also been reworked, not just wider, but significantly sharper toward the edges, finally fixing the soft corner distortion even some Pro Series users complained about in wide landscape shots. And get this, even though this phone is lighter and thinner, it still supports 4K. Cinematic mode at 60 frames per second with full background depth control. Editing depth focus in real time feels instant now, almost as if it's rendering the future before you move the slider. Apple is also heavily pushing its new on-device AI, Apple Intelligence Vision Assist, which auto-composes your frame based on subject motion, horizon tilt, even symmetry preferences. It doesn't just suggest, it adapts live as you film. Now, here's something I genuinely didn't expect, despite not having a telephoto lens. The iPhone Air uses sensor cropping with AI, stabilization for 3 times, optical equivalent zoom, and honestly, 80% of average users won't even notice it's not optical. Only hardcore pixel peepers will test it under zoom stress. For most people, this camera absolutely feels flagship tier, not a downgrade. Let's move on to AI, because 2025 is officially the year Apple goes all in, and the iPhone Air benefits massively from that. You're getting the full suite of Apple Intelligence features, real-time voice transcription that feels telepathic, instant photo cleanup, background removal without cloud processing, on-device voice-to-Siri transformation that actually understands context this time, and the magic: zero performance drop.